Hi guys, Martin from Belief. In this video we're going to look at the updated SEO or search engine optimization module made available in Yabber, and we'll talk about how it applies on your website. Now, what is search engine optimization? It is a means of optimizing your website markup and the content in order to garnish more traffic and improve search results, ultimately delivering more conversions. In recent years, SEO has evolved into user experience optimization, because if you improve upon the user experience, you get more traffic and you garnish more social, and Google rewards you for that. You have to consider Google to be a real human being and optimize your experience in such a way that a real human will appreciate your efforts. And that's why we go to such extraordinary efforts, I guess, in terms of building upon the facilities and functionality within our mortgage broker website. All right, so while I'm talking, I'll just bounce around on Yabber here a bit. So first of all, how does this module differ from the now deprecated module? Well, I say it's deprecated, but there are still some people that unfortunately have to be using it because they've got websites that are so highly customized that they've done themselves. They've removed a large amount of our content and so on. So the only way they're going to experience, they're going to be able to render the appropriate markup on their page is by using the legacy module, but you cannot now update the SEO from within your website. It has to, from within Yabber, it has to be on your website. All right, first plugin we made for SEO is in 2012. This is a website plugin. 2014 or 13, I think we made it publicly available. It's been downloaded about 100,000 times. We tried to promote it to mortgage brokers at one point, and there's probably still, I don't know, a few hundred brokers using it, and it is the best SEO plugin available in the industry because it's finance specific. Now, we migrated the plugin features into Yabber, obviously. So the only way to manage your SEO now is from within Yabber. If ever you stop using Yabber for any reason, there is a plugin that ensures the functionality remains, and it is an excellent plugin. We made a video, I think, in 2014 or 15, and Kirsty, who was the managing director of Fashion TV at the time, she narrated the thing and introduced it and so on. And that's the time we heavily promoted, along with our locations plugin, which was SEO focused. So all that aside, the features we've built into Yabber, this has held up delivery of a couple of websites, by the way, because for various reasons. But the features made available within the SEO module are extensive. It provides markup that will position you in such a way that it's impossible for search engines and AI search facilities and so on not to recognize the effort that you've made. With all else being equal, that business that provides better markup, more comprehensive markup, makes more of an effort, will get the better result. And I guess that's where markup plays its part in SEO now, because the content you manufacture and so on is always going to be more important. And now, let's just jump into it. There are a number of things you're going to have to do before you can use this on your website. And by the way, in the olden days, there was about a 5-minute delay between your website being published and the SEO markup being applied to the page. And that's because Yabber would evaluate your post and then send all the data to your website. That no longer applies, at least in a sense it no longer applies. The way it happens now is as soon as you publish your post, the markup or basic markup is applied. And then Yabber will still send all the markup necessary to represent your post in graph. It'll send that to your website and you can update that at any time. So it's the same but different, but the way this works is it's more integrated than certainly the previous facility, and I'll show you why. The problem is you should never hard code content of any type. It's just hard coding a content or a value is just dumb, and you want all options to be global. So if you update a phone number, for example, you don't want to have to go and update 3 or 4 sources. You just want to update one. And that's one of the things that this updated version will do. It'll update, business details and phone numbers and opening hours and all sorts of stuff sort of globally. So now it'll update Google My Business, Facebook, your website, and everything kind of in one click. Whereas it was a couple of systems before, so we've just sort of dumped it into the one module. Now, to find SEO, we're going to select website management and then the SEO option on the far right hand side over here, or you can select the website option in the primary menu and select SEO. Now that's going to take us to a page where it presents a number of SEO options. A large number of these options will have to be updated to take advantage of improved features, functionality. Now what we're going to look at first of all is what has to be done before we can use this plugin. Now from the settings icon over here on the right hand side, I'm just going to show you very quickly where we update company logos, primary company logos. So via the images option here in the sub menu, that will return a panel with I think 5 options for 5 different images. Here we go, company, it's 6 images, company, black and white, wide, SEO, Yabber, and photo. The photo is a profile photo. I should change the text there, shouldn't I? You simply upload the photo and select save. This little panel here provides the required dimensions. That's always best to upload as a PNG transparent format because it will be applied to logos and ebooks and your website and all sorts of different places. Now, what's used in SEO? Company, SEO, and photo, your profile photo. Those 3 images there are necessary. Now we will have done this for you based on you providing us with your logo, or if we've created the logo for you, we'll always do this with the website setup as we do with a lot of things. So that's all that's really required in settings. However, there are a number of other options. I'll just jump back into the SEO panel. We're going to, a short time ago we introduced an enhanced module which allowed you to manufacture multiple sort of business arrangements within your operation. So you can have multiple locations, multiple businesses, multiple brokers, multiple everything, and then just pair them up as required. And that's made available actually in the website management module. We'll have a look at that first and foremost, because if you haven't done this already, it's important that you do it soon, because the previous functionality will be deprecated. If you'd like us to do that for you, you're going to have to send us an email and it will be queued. Nothing gets done quickly at the moment when it's stuff you can do yourself, if you know what I mean. So first of all, there's the business locations icon here. I'm going to select that, and this is how we create locations. For many of you, you will have one location, it's a fixed address. So location name, location type, and then the full address for general display, that's in the footer of your site, and a location URL slug. So if you've got multiple locations, it'll be something like, my location, but that's going to be HQ or head office or, Concord, finance or whatever, I don't know, just anything. And that's applied to the URL, so someone can access that business location page directly. So you can leave that blank if you like, and it will just manufacture one for you. I guess the important thing is when you update your address here, try and use the automated drop-down values. So if I select that address there, this will populate all the applicable fields down the bottom here, including, most importantly, the latitude and longitude. Why is lat and long required? And that's because it is used for the purpose of local SEO, right? We want all our brokers to do well, and we certainly want all our brokers to perform better than others in the industry. And I very rarely see a lat and long applied to the markup on page, and I think that's really important because it reinforces to search engines exactly where you are, so they can index that themselves. And when somebody searches for a mortgage broker near me, you will come up as a better result. rather than Google trying to resolve your location or defaulting back to Google My Business, which is lower tiered because it's never kept up to date and so on. So that's important for locations. There's also business profiles. You can have as many locations as you like, obviously, and certainly if you're doing, if you're running a partner program, you're going to have a location set up for all your partners, despite the fact that they won't have a location page on your website necessarily. Certainly, if they escalate and dive deeper into the program, they will. And I encourage all our guys to do so. So business profile. This profile needs to be set up for each of the businesses in your operation. Now, there are a number of fields here that are selected from other areas of your site that are, in fact, I'll just give you an example in a moment. So various business names that apply, the primary broker, the principal broker. You select now a location, okay? Where is this business located? You can have multiple businesses at a single location. You can have multiple brokers downline to 20 business profile. If you operate this type of business, you understand the complexity that shrouds the the crazy way in which your structure is managed. You've got businesses with their own ACL and without. You've got businesses at different locations, and some locations share different businesses. It's a kind of a mashup, and this is all to cater for that. So select your aggregator as required, your credit license number. This will also auto-populate. So try and select the ACL or credit rep number as it exists in the drop-down. That just makes some more information available. So a social profile. Okay, this is the social media profile that is applicable to this business, the branding profile, phone numbers and display emails. All the phone numbers have to be registered in Yabber, okay? And that's done via the primary website module. The FAQs have to be referenced for this module, by the way, because there's just so much here. It's really easy to set up. Once it's set up, and 99% of the time we're going to do it for you. But I guess it's important to understand if something changes or if you need to update something. It's important to understand where you go in order to create the change. Now, a branding profile is just your company branding colors, your primary branding colors. Why? Because they appear in markup. If I wasn't clear, markup is just used by search engines to represent your business in search results and in various carousels and things like that. So it is the text that appears in search results under the title name and the excerpt essentially, and so on. So that's a branding profile. You also need to define opening times and closing times. So we'll give that a couple of seconds to think about its life choices. There we go. And again, this is now a universal function. I think when we introduced it back in 2013, there was a time panel for Google, a time panel for Facebook, a time panel for your website. It's just messy. Obviously, it makes sense just to have a unified setup, and it was just a matter of time before we did that, and we introduced this maybe, I don't know, 12 months ago or so, maybe 2 years ago. But this is kind of a centralized resource now. It's mimicked or mirrored in the business module and in various social modules when we integrate with Google My Business and your Facebook business profile and so on. So opening hours and holiday hours, add more hours as you need to. We've got Sunday to Saturday, which is usually enough, but if you have 2 hours off on a Tuesday because you go to the gym or something, maybe you want to put that in. You probably don't. You can take phone calls at the gym anyhow. So they're the business profiles. When you have created those, it is important that you update your applicable website, and that is the website where these changes will take effect. And you will be required to select your primary team profile, which is the teams profile where you build the team page, your primary business location, your primary business hours and holiday hours, and the social and branding profile. Okay, so that's really important, guys, that your website be synced. So you just select your website and send it. So now that that's done, let's just shoot back into, whoops, wrong module there. We want to go to SEO, but that's okay. So I'll select SEO here. And we're going to shoot back to the SEO module. Now there are a number of options here: general, local, Facebook, and Google. Facebook and Google are denoted by an icon. A lot of these other options could be ignored for the moment. Certainly console, which is Google Console, that's going to be updated now to reflect sort of a lot of the changes that we've made. So general, let's have a look at that first of all, see where it takes us. Now, it's really taking its time. Screen recording just freezes everything. You'll see that in a moment when I start typing. So for general, what we want to do is select our website, and for the purposes of SEO, we're going to have to select our location profile and social profile, locale, number of sort of options that apply. We will hide a number of these in the future because they're no longer applicable. But we had to keep them in here because they support the deprecated features. So for most of you, it's just above the dot, just these three features here. Everything else is automatically applied. Okay, local SEO is super important, right? We want you to certainly, above all else, you know, initially when you start out, or you know, when you start applying an effort into managing your website's presence online, you want to be a big fish in a small pond, which is local SEO, before you take that deep dive into the big pond where you're competing with every other broker in the country. However, let me be clear, it is super easy to get really good SEO results within the finance industry because nobody else makes the effort. Okay, we've got probably 3 or 4 businesses now that just own SEO. We did their SEO years ago, and a lot of them sort of took on their own staff and have grown enormously, so they've got the capacity to do that in-house. But certainly in the early days, a lot of these businesses relied on us to build their SEO presence. And we started, you know, certainly with franchise offices, only focusing on certain communities and areas and things. Just like you will, or you may have already, before we took the deep dive again into that global audience. But it's really easy to compete with other brokers because no other broker makes the effort. So why is this important? This is the primary business markup stuff. So you've got 3 categories here. I suggest you just leave those. Don't even change them. They're the 3 big categories that apply in what we call JSON LD markup, which is a JSON is a JavaScript object notation. It's a global and unified and recognized means of creating an information schema that is recognized by search engines. So certainly Google will ingest this information. There's no doubt about it. Google will ingest the content we create here. So the business location, GMB profile, primary location, it's Google My Business Location, if you have one assigned, and you will. And then your business description, your business name, as you want it represented in the markup, and your primary phone number. Now the company logo is just sourced from the images that I showed you before, the opening hours and so on, the branding profile, company email, and website keywords, right? I'd say use up to 3. Keywords are largely redundant now, by the way, in terms of their use as what we call a meta tag in standard HTML markup, but they're still used in JSON LD. It's a hint to what your business does. Define contact person, that's if you want a contact person specifically listed within the JSON LD. So you'll select a person and a number. That is optional, but you want your representation of your business, you want that markup on your website to be quite comprehensive. So I would actually put that in most of the time if you're a small business. If you're a large business, you may put in 1300 sort of central support or a switchboard or something. It's something we'll talk about. So that's important, guys. Local SEO is important. No local SEO will be applied to your page. No JSON business markup will be applied to your page unless that option is complete. So let's have a look at Facebook. And this gives us a number of Facebook options. We'll just wait for the little fella to, there we go. So the way we do this, select your website and select your, the SDK to head should always be yes. Okay, because Facebook functionality, even the Pixel, doesn't work without the SDK. SDK stands for Software Developer Kit. So it's necessary for all the Facebook features to function properly. Facebook Pixel ID, you can select from all those available pixels that you have on record. We never get you to copy and paste pixels. I've seen people charge for that, by the way. It's just crazy. It's all automated on our end, including the creation of pixels for your site. So you can create a pixel in Yabber and assign it to your website in Yabber. And you never have to open up a file. So you can select your Facebook page, and then you've got some advanced options. The SDK version will take care of that. That defaults all the time to the latest version. In the most recent plugin update, by the way, it'll also always default to the version that we use primarily. This exists for legacy reasons. Application ID, if you've created a Facebook application, page administrators, comma separated. That's for the purpose of, well, first of all, recognition, but editing any Facebook comments that are made when using a Facebook comment system and so on. There's a whole bunch of different reasons. And the ad account ID, which may or may not populate based on the system that you're using. Now, Google is just the Google tracking code ID. That's all we need here. So, select your website and it'll open up a panel, and it's just providing the Google tracking facilities. This will change, by the way, in the next 48 hours. This is due to change. It's switching over to a more updated version of Google's system. In fact, for most of you, it will already be changed. So that's kind of the setup, and it really is just these options along here from the SEO panel: general, local, Facebook, and Google. This used to be social sharing options, but that no longer applies. What's that option there? That is that's sitemaps. Sitemaps are due for an update very, very soon. Again, because we've fundamentally changed the way SEO is manufactured on your website. SEO markup is applied to your website. So that brings us to the site SEO panel. Now, first of all, we're going to have to select our website in a post in order to edit any content. From the primary SEO review table, which I'm not going to show you because it's going to show you the legacy table, and Domenico is updating. We have now a central or a single WordPress website review table now that caters for every feature on your site. We used to have like 6 or 7. We've unified that now and progressively replacing all the links that might be necessary to change. So what we're going to do, first of all, we'll select our website. And I'll just pull up any random post there that I know exists. There we go. Now, when I hit this, it's important to understand that we're going to update Yabber with the most recent version of your post. We will save the images. We will save all the categories and tags associated with the post. We'll save the post itself. We'll evaluate it for any updated videos. We're going to do a whole bunch of different things. Effectively, what is taking place with the matrix system, it pulls out about 30 to 40 pieces of primary information necessary in order to manufacture the SEO panel. For that reason, it can take a few seconds. So we'll give it a few seconds to think about things, and there we go. So it hasn't changed much, by the way. When we update the plugin, so all your management tools for Yabber are actually on your website at yourwebsite.com.au/portal, where you log in and manage all these facilities yourself. SEO will be migrated there as well. The big ticket features on your website, those we're going to implement straight away, email marketing, SMS marketing, and SEO, and other basic communication tools. But they're kind of, I think, the big 3. So we've got post title and SEO description. So what does Google use for the purpose of rendering search results? Normally it picks between post title and the object graph title. What's the difference between the two? Well, Facebook will always use the object graph title. it only uses the title if there's no object graph title defined. So this is very much focused on how the second part of it is very much focused on how your post is represented in social media. So if you are, let me say that again. So if a post is shared to Facebook, it will use this title and this description. And what image will Facebook display? The image that is selected here. What images are shown? All right, SEO images, call to action images, and location images. We created a video the other day that showed you how multiple instances of the same image can be updated with a single click within Yabber, and it is an incredible feature. It's really handy. You can put on time expiries on them and all sorts of things. Certainly there are images, promotional images, rate cards, all those things that have to be updated regularly, and you don't want to go into 30 locations on your website to update them all individually. Your website has to be fresh, has to be relevant, has to be compliant, and so on, and the location images serve a purpose to achieve that. So I think you can type in, I hope I put in the facility, there we go. You can type in a specific URL. So we'll just call it test.jpg, and you can select that. So that becomes a custom image, which is, you'll see a custom image in a moment. We use that somewhere for some reason. I don't remember why. But the most common option is use post featured image. That is the featured image associated with your post. Now, what are use additional OG images? I'm going to come back to these two little fellas. What are object graph collection images? Again, I'm going to come back to these. Twitter. So how is your post represented on Twitter? Twitter title, Twitter post content, which is the big ticket one. That's the content, what's in the the X feed. I need to change these, don't I, to X. That's a nuisance. I don't think anyone will ever get used to that. Twitter description alt, and this is for vision impaired, so it's kind of a description of everything. And the Twitter image, you use featured image, or you can select an alternate image for Twitter. And then Facebook. Okay, article or website, leave that as is. We will resolve that automatically. Facebook conversion, what sort of conversion do we use? Again, let the system take care of it. If you select view content, we'll alter that when it's required, so it's automated. Now, before we define a whole bunch of Facebook content, if this has to be defined for a specific page, which may be done at times for things like guest posts and things like that, you can select an alternate pixel ID, application ID, post administrators, and so on. For 99% of cases, 99.9% of cases even, that won't be necessary, but it will likely be deprecated. It will likely be removed for a whole range of reasons. So the advanced tab. Okay, do we index the site? Do we hide the site? Do we disallow image indexes and all those sorts of things? This is the big ticket one. This is important. It should have a green background. What is the canonical URL? Okay, what is the canonical URL? That is the URL associated with this post, or the source article where this post was copied from, if it's a duplicate. Now, the canonical URL is automatically applied, obviously. If we send an article to your website, the canonical URL will always post to our source rather than yours. So you will not be assigned any credit for creating that article if you did not, in fact, create that article. If you don't want it to be perceived as plagiarism, as being plagiarizing content. All right, and it is perceived as plagiarism when you do not assign that canonical URL. So, all right, I've lost internet here at the moment, which is a bit of a nuisance. I'm going to try and reset that while I'm talking. If not, I'm going to have to stop this video and come back to it, which is a bit of a nuisance. So, the short URL. The short URL is created for every post. and then sent to your website. And one of the many reasons we evaluate SEO in Yabber and then send all the content back to your website, even after SEO is applied to your page automatically, is because we are sending data like the short URL back to your website. We are sending all the videos that are on a page back to your website, so we can apply appropriate video markup. So there's a lot of stuff we don't do on your website that really needs to be evaluated. Sorry, just getting this website back online while I'm talking about this. There's the IP config. All right, so what was I saying? Yeah, so that the short URL is just one thing that is associated with every single post. Why do we use short? Well, it's our service. It's one of about 3 or 4 services we operate. It's very good. It's not a Bitly. It's not Bitly is a horrible service to use. You should never use it. Okay, just don't use it. You change one character and you get sent to somebody else's website, porn site, whatever. It's just, you need quality control with these sorts of things. Guys, I'm having real problems with my internet here. No, we've got it back. There we go. All right, so I can progress. So the FAQs will go through how these details apply and what they do and so on. But again, and I was going to show you the canonical URL. What happens if it's an article sent to your website? Because we still send all the SEO data and the markup. No, posting failed. So we're actually offline. Let me just, no, bugger. Give it 10 seconds. No, giddy up. I'm going to have to hit pause on this thing, I think, unless I've got it back. No. I've literally lost internet, so I'm going to hit pause and come back to it. Internet is back online, so we'll look at that canonical URL again and what it will look like if it is an administrator post, so a managed post, something that we've created and sent to your website. So it's dulled out there, you can't make changes, and there's a padlock icon. I'm just going to remove that little change I made to the code there in case I forget to do it. And we can also assign a page interest. Right, that's really important if you're using the conditional engine. So if it's an article on reverse mortgages, we're going to select reverse mortgages there. Now, BNet can resolve that and will resolve that very effectively and efficiently on the basis of the post title and slug and post content, which it evaluates and so on. But this is a definitive declaration. This is a SMSF page or so on. And what that does is if you use this diligently and apply this to every page on your site, then you can apply really effective conditional content. So content that is shown to a specific user on the basis of their resolved interest. So again, the FAQs will go through all of this. Now, markup is really important. This is the business markup. All those options we went through before with the business and the location and so on, this all relates, or most of it relates to the markup that is applied alongside and with your primary business markup. This specific panel generally relates to the post, but some of those other options will be integrated with this. So markup type, automatic. We would recommend you leave that as automatic. The article author, use article author, that's resolved on your website and sent to Yabber automatically. So rather than selecting a specific user, if it's a managed article, you will have defined the author that is applied to the article in question, and that's the author that we will use for the purpose of the markup. So the article headline and the article description, there's no real description length when it comes to general markup, but keep it short. So keep it within the post container. A square thumbnail, which is automatically resolved. And again, we selected the, we defined all the business options before, but if you want to use a different business profile, select that there. So if you want to assign the article itself to a business, you can do that. And if you want to use an alternate organization logo, you can use that and just type it in. That's just a copy and paste, because it can be any image that's associated with the page. That's getting into the complex area. Now, you might think it's a lot to enter, and it really is not. Everything is virtually controlled from this front page. So if I type in the title here, and I'm going to type in title, and then just copy that over and over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, come on, you can do it, computer. Give it 5 seconds and it'll type. But the point is that that title will be mirrored here in the object graph title, there we go, and in the Twitter title, in the markup title, and so on. So it's copied across. And the same applies for the description. If I enter a bunch of text here, that will be copied into all these other fields. So these other fields apply for those cases where you want to really have I guess, an elevated markup experience that caters for different platforms and things in a way that nobody really ever does. So, and that's copied that across there as well. So in essence, all you have to really do is create a title and a description, right? And that description will apply everywhere. If you are editing a post, now, for example, if we're editing one of the lower panels, I have to wait for that to copy across now because it's my PC works at the, well, slow. So if I edit this and type in text here, that text will not be applied anywhere else. So it's only these two fields that are mirrored. Now, if I am editing a post that is already created, none of the mirroring will apply, and that none of the mirroring that is applied means that nothing I type in here will change anything else, and that is because you may have applied some custom text here, and you don't want to overwrite that. So you might come back to make a correction just to the SEO description. You're going to type that in, and now my computer's frozen, which is awesome. There we go. So you might type that in. You don't want that to be reflected here because it will overwrite it by default. So if you've already created a custom SEO profile for a specific page, then none of that mirroring will apply. Now, I guess from a page perspective, one of the really important areas is the archive and library pages. So if you want to change the name of the resources entry page, and it might be called anything, it might be called like BM resources or something, because that's the default value. You select that. Now this is going to return gobbledygook, because this is an archive page which is just full of code and nothing else. So okay, so it's kind of relevant for this page. There might have been a bit of content, but you will want to update those archive pages yourself to be consistent with your core messaging. Now, if you're a managed client, we will do that for you. In fact, we go through every post. If you're a managed client, we go through every post created and create these ourselves manually, and we update certain images manually. Now, I'm just going to remind me to talk about AI. So reach through the computer and give me a tap on the shoulder if I forget. So, okay, from this main panel, we had the object graph collection images. Now, these are additional images when you're within the markup itself. By default, in most cases, a single image is applied. We will apply multiple images. Now, this will not create a carousel on your website by default, having multiple images. It used to. In fact, there's no social media platform now, with the exception of some of those that are lesser used, that will create a carousel for a post. So if you share this post to social media, it's going to grab that title, that description, and it will use the featured image. And that's the image it will show. In the olden days, it used to show all the object graph images by default. It does not do that anymore, but we still include those images in the markup. Now, there's two reasons why we define a whole bunch of additional images. The first reason is for those cases where a carousel will be used. Second, it gives the social media platform more choice. And three, when we send an article to social media, we will send potentially and possibly, which I'll talk about in the FAQs, other images associated with that post that you have defined. We have here default SEO markup images. So all of the images associated with that collection will be also attached to your post markup. How do we define the default images? Select here default graph images. This provides a facility for object graph and JSON LD markup. So we use multiple images in the JSON LD, so the JSON markup and also the object graph markup, which is the old style HTML stuff. So if we select a website here, it's going to present, these are our current default images, a red house and a home balcony with blue chairs. Okay, we can add a third if I like. And that will be a brown brick house. You can adjust these in order of importance. So the most important image should go up the top, and the less important ones should go down the bottom. Why? Because platforms like Facebook will select the first image by default, but if that fails for any reason, they'll select the second image. Or if the second image is of a better size, they will select that, a more suitable size for the medium where it's shown. So once that's done, hit save. The button is green because it sends those images to your website. It sends the definition to your website. Exactly the same process applies for JSON LD markup. So you can define images that are shown by default within all your JSON. Now, in a second, I'll look at collections, but let's first just have a look at how to upload an image. It's via the standard Yabber upload facility and assigns what we call a source. And there's, I think, 4 or 5 sources for images you upload to the SEO module. We'll see in a second. Drag your image into this area or click it and it will bring up the facility to search and select something from nested directories and so on. So I'm going to open that up, and it provides for us to select an image title, image alt text, a caption, and description. In this case, we're just keeping them together because it's just easier to do. One or the other is normally used, but both of them are very, very rarely used on your website. And then link post association. What is the best link that represents this image you are uploading? So in most cases, it'll be an evergreen page. So if you're uploading a first home buyer image, you will select first home buyers, which is under the finance page there. Why do we do that? It's because in some cases, we can have a carousel created that will include links. If it includes links, it usually also includes the title. So first home buyer rates from, with a placeholder, which I haven't talked about yet, and it will link to first home buyer or first home buyer nurses, whatever, whatever sort of stuff is relevant to the image in question. And we have some guys, do some real sensible and clever things with this kind of whatchamithingity jiggity. I'm not making sense there, am I? But we've got some guys doing some real clever things and representing their business in real clever ways. These images may be used elsewhere in various ways. So I'm just going to go back here to collections. So I'm just going to go back and show you how to create a collection of images. So I'm going to turn my phone off while I'm here as well, because 83 messages, awesome. So what is a collection? A collection is a large number of images that is optionally applied to certain posts. Now I'm going to create a collection here for one of our demo websites. I'm going to open that up, and it says select optional SEO collection. These are the collections I have created already. I'm going to create now demo collection for SEO video. I've already done one of these demos for our managed group, so that's why the other option was there, and I'll select that. Now this will create a new collection. I'm going to select this. As soon as I select it, that collection there will be created. It now exists in your system. So you can go through and select, as many images as you want. And this is, I guess, where the source becomes relevant. We can select graph images. And there's also JSON markup images. So mortgage Scrabble pieces. SEO images, which I haven't uploaded. No call to action images, that's fine. And home balcony with blue chairs. And suburb aerial. So I've got 4 images there assigned to a collection. I'm going to save that. That will send to our website. So when I go back and update a post, I can optionally assign this collection to a post. So those images will be shown within the markup that applies to that specific page. So again, I know this is just sounding so foreign to you, and if I haven't put you to sleep, awesome. The FAQs will go through this in more details, but it'll just give you the basic steps. Because remember, this is all automated. Everything I'm talking about here is optional. So I've opened up a post here. Now I can optionally now select that demo collection for SEO video, which is there. And if I save that, that's going to now send this to our website. This performs a number of functions. Once again, it sends the data to our website. It clears the cache. It clears the business cache. It does a whole bunch of different things. So the SEO data is made immediately. Now, the last thing I probably want to talk about with relation to any of this is that we can use rate placeholders, as we can virtually anywhere within our system. So things like rate and comparison rate as a placeholder can be used in the title. Those rate placeholders are available from the placeholders menu within the lender data module. Although rate and comparison rate are 2 that you will remember forever, and that is the lowest owner-occupied rate of any type. So I wrote an article a short time ago. I'm going to have to throw this in Adobe Premiere because the video is created in 2 parts. So what I'll do is I'll just put a little thing up on the screen right now of an old article we wrote, not that old, it was probably only a few months ago, of what we call rate bait in search results. And I'm blown away by the inaccuracies of rate data in search results, and I'm blown away by the fact that people still to this day do not use a comparison rate. The rate and comparison rate are married. They go everywhere together. They don't spend any time at all away from each other. You say a rate, comparison rate is required. You print a rate, comparison rate is required. So your system will always be up to date. I think it caches there for about 36 hours, a day and a half. So although if you updated a post, it would clear the cache straight away. So if you go through and in fact, you can just to leapfrog myself there, if you go, there is an option within the WordPress management menu as well to clear various caches of certain types, and that includes the SEO cache. You can go through and just clear all your SEO data if you want that rate to be shown straight away. And we give an instruction to Google that your website pages change every day, so they'll come back often enough on important cornerstone pages and reread the content and adjust their search results accordingly. Google goes to great lengths to ensure that their search results are accurate. And yours will always be accurate. Okay, and that irritates me that some people have not applied. A lot of people apply use the green rate and so on in search results, which I think is just green home loans are usually 0.4% lower, 0.5% lower maybe than a standard rate, and it's just deception. It's very, very deceptive. It is used to trick people into a click, and it's used to trick people into a phone call. Sadly, it works. Now, so that's how the collections work. Now, this is a really amazing module, guys. Like, don't be mistaken by its simplicity. That makes a really big difference to how your site is represented in search and certainly on social and so on. Add additional OG images. These images, and there can be up to 30 images listed here. Let me have a look at an article that might have more than 1 or 2 images assigned to it. I'll have to search here. I really just don't remember how many images are assigned to each sort of FAQ on your site and so on. So I'm pulling up this again. It's going to take a little time because it's updating all the data and building everything and all that sort of stuff. So this has no images assigned to the page. Let me have a think about this. No, look, it doesn't matter, but you can have, I just want one back there. You can have a list of images. As many images as used in your article. So if you've got 10 images there in your post, it will show you 10 images here, right? It's stacked vertically. And you select what images you would like represented in graph. Now we have 2 options: include the full image, include the square image. Now at the moment you can select both. Now, it didn't really occur to me, because they're checkboxes, the checkbox functionality is intended to be, you know, one or all. It's not a single thing. It's not like radio buttons where only one is selected at a time. And what I will do, and I was only made aware of this morning, because somebody used all the images of all types, so 2 images associated with each big image. So there was the square version and the wide HD format, which is, by the way, normally 1200 by 630 pixels, which is sort of ideal for Facebook. It's their recommended size format. So I will change this to either a select menu or something similar where you select one or the other. So I'll have a think about that over the next couple of days. It'll probably be a little bit like the object graph stuff. I'll stick in a little menu where you can add various images maybe, and within the select menu it'll show square or full image. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but the point is just select one of them. Okay, I like sticking with the square image because if it is rendered in a carousel on those social platforms, it just looks nicer. Nothing is cut off. Square is always best. When you create content for social, you create a 916, a 16:9, and a square by default. They're the 3 you always create. Everything else caters for alternate formats, but there's 3 that you have to create for everything. Certainly ads, you would never create a reel as an ad without creating a 1:1 format, so a square format. I'm going to talk about that specifically again soon. So again, I mentioned this has an impact on social media. Within our Sendify module, you will be able to define when you send a post to social media, do you include the associated collections of a various type. So I will go through that when I look at some of the social tools that we use, because we are sort of considering a few changes there. If you're sending a first home buyer article, should we send a collection of first home buyer images, for example? If we're sending a refinance article, should we send a series of refinance images? So there's a great deal of opportunity to improve upon that social experience. At the moment, we kind of, I won't say indiscriminately, because we actually send a collection that's assigned to your post. So if you are sending a first home buyer, if you've created a first home buyer profile for your SEO and you've assigned the first home buyer images here, we will send those. But we want to make that just a little bit easier so you don't have to update your SEO. Now, our SEO, again, has always been automated, right? 100% of the time, we've always had an automated SEO module. So, again, you don't have to do anything. However, and this will be in the FAQs, I do want people to go through and change the article and library pages, and that includes the homepage, your primary homepage, and all the switch pages. So in the menu there's an option for front pages, and I want you to go through and change those to reflect your own voice, right? Our managed guys, don't worry, that's done. And unmanaged guys, so if you've just bought a website with no sort of SEO add-ons or anything else, I would like you to go through and update those. Again, that'll be in the FAQ. The FAQ for this will be very short. Very, very short. Okay. And I'll just say once more, because I just want to reinforce, when you go through and if all you're doing is just updating the sort of post and description and you don't worry too much about the markup, and very few people do, just alter these two panels here. That's all you have to do. Everything else is taken care of, and you will still have really exceptional markup that is resolved via Yabber. So don't worry too much about it. It's largely an automated system. If you do want to replace the SEO image, so the image that is associated with the post, for those occasions where it is shared on social media, do that here. That's the reason, by the way, we have call to action images, because call to action images are very much like, opportunities, discounts, promotions, industry opportunities, rate cards, and things like that. So when you upload an image from this specific menu, it will ask you what sort of image you're uploading: call to action image, standard location image, or general SEO image. Okay, so if you're uploading a call to action image, do that. If there are call to action images associated with your post, they are always assigned above anything else, because that's the focus. Now, I'm just going to go back and show you a couple more things before I wrap this little fella up, and that is settings. Now, there are a lot of settings, obviously, that I've shown you. These are, well, I'll go to this one because I've just talked about it. Default graph images. Default graph images, bugger, that's going to take me to another page, will always apply on our site. Okay, so if you have defined object graph and JSON LD default graph images, I will make this title clearer so you're aware that they are default images. They will always be applied. So let's hit the back button and show you the BNet option. Now, BNet is the AI. Enable AI and disable AI. This will only apply if you've been given access to the AI module. Okay. Most of you do not have access to the AI module. Certainly all our managed guys do, and that will, the AI will write your markup, it'll write your Twitter posts, it'll write your content, it'll write your summaries, it'll provide, it'll basically do everything. It even creates the images associated with a post, the call to action images, the markup images, everything. And the focus of the AI was kind of the reason for a delay in shipping this particular module. So that's that, guys. The module is huge. By the way, there's a sync option here. Very, very rarely required. If you select a post via the primary SEO panel, it will sync that post with Yabber automatically when the post is selected. That applies sort of across the board in a number of ways now, but you can sync a post specifically, and this option appears kind of in a number of places. So if I pull up a post here. Let's pick up the same one we had before. I'll select a post from our site, and I'll just do that. That's just syncing that data with our website. Now, if you have created custom markup for your website, the content that we sync with Yabber is never used again. It's only ever used to generate the default markup that is applied. The review table will just take you to the website review table with all your posts and all your websites and things like that. Not super important right now, and Domenico's sort of working on that to build in a whole bunch of different options. Remember, this is a unified website table, so everything is sharing the same table now. All your options and all your editing features will be available from the same table, and it greatly improves upon the website related workflows that you need to do. So you need to assign a video to a page, you can do that from within that primary table. You need to edit your SEO, that can be done within the primary table. You need to assign images or update any of the panels or rate features, that can be done within the primary table as well. So that's that, guys. The last thing I'm going to say is, look, SEO is a content related feature now. It's a user experience and content creation obligation on your part. That is why we have built the website we have built. Some people say, I've heard this before, isn't it too much? And I hate hearing it, but you know, it's a reasonable question unless you are aware of the benefits that are garnished and gained from having a website that includes lots of gamified style features. You will get more organic traffic, you will get more conversions off our website for 1,000 reasons. And it's all focused on that customer journey. We provide the tools that people want. We provide the facilities that they need, and then we optimize the website in such a way that it creates website pathways. It creates a website funnel, essentially. There are, from the front page of our site through to page 5, there's a trillion to the power of 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 a trillion. I don't know how it goes on, but there are more navigation pathways within those first 5 pages than there is grains of sand on all the beaches on Earth, right? The number of options available just from 5 pages, right? That's how probability and statistics work, right? Because of the large number of links that are on each page. They can go anywhere. So over 50%, I don't recall the exact statistics right now, but certainly over 50% of people will almost always follow the same pathway through those first 3 pages. Now that's statistically improbable, but that's what we mean by, that's the basis for choice architecture. We're creating a pathway for somebody. We're making them think that they have a choice when they're all going to select the same thing. And then, you know, once you identify what those same things are, we can manufacture various pathways to make it easier for them. So that's that, guys. Big module, big module. In fact, I haven't scratched the scratch when it comes to SEO, the number of things you can do, and the features that we've recently implemented within the module itself are extraordinary. The integration with Xena, which is our statistical engine, and the updated structure facilities, so you're able to evaluate the performance of a page in terms of its actual engagement, and the heat map software and so on that we built is all quite incredible. A lot of it isn't available to everybody yet. We've updated this system. We basically just scrapped the previous system and started again. So it's really significant, guys. Martin Curry, Belief Media. Call or text at any time. 0400 777 300. That number again, 0400 777 300. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.